Hello, 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 everybody. Yes, here we are again. It is Friday, the 23rd of August. Oh my gosh, we got such a wonderful person on today, Beverly North. We just met her, and she's a superstar, you can tell already. Um, One of the people that are in the background, wallflower, I believe the word she used.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's thousands of people back. I'm so glad she came forward. You're gonna meet her. We had about 5 minutes with her, and you're gonna love her. Guarantee it. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Chris. Chris, introduce this young lady.
Well, I know nothing about Miss Beverly. I met her for the first time talking to her a couple minutes ago, and she seems like a phenomenal lady. She explained a little bit about herself to us. She's very comical, straightforward, and I won't say it, but you won't believe how old she is. I don't know if she's going to say it or not, but she's absolutely beautiful. This is the first time I've seen someone they say they were this age, and it's like, no way. But you're going to be amazed. So bring her on here, Marty. Hold on 1 second, Beverly. Let's get in the middle. Almost not my ugly head. Come on. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Beverly North. Beverly North, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much to Marty and Chris for this day. Hello, everybody. I am Beverly North, and yes, I am 75 years old, so I do have some experiences of life, good and bad, of course. So, my some of my young age, I was the fourth of six children. I was the first girl, so my mother called me Precious Princess for quite some time, and then all of a sudden she started calling me Sis. So that's how I grew up being called by my mother is my sis. So we had a close connection. My dad was a farmer, somewhat of a small cattleman, but he preferred to do the crops. He loved to be out tilling the soil, planting the seeds, and watching that grow. And we had enough food because we had our own gardens, and when we learned work ethics through that experience, and chickens, and taking care of the cattle and the hogs, and no horses though. Didn't get to grow up riding a horse, but that's okay. So I pardon me. So both did I go somewhere? What happened, guys? I don't know what happened.
You're still dead center. We can see you perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have touched my computer or something. So as you can see then, I'm not very technical. This little black box frustrates me down to my toes. So the example that I've got from my mother, besides hardworking, I had an older brother that was stricken with muscular dystrophy. So I watched my mother take care of his every need. So it really instilled in an early age in me to serve others and to help others that could not help themselves. And I've lived that. So, and it's carried out throughout my whole life, and it has served me in my time. Um, One might say that I married young, and I went right from my mother's apron strings to my husband's arms. And then after 39 years of marriage, my husband passed away, and it left me with two foster kids. But it was not a surprise. It was a long time coming. And so, a quick change in gears always when something traumatic like that happens. And I was working at a factory called Ace Electric. It had been in town, and I had exchanged my time for wages for 25 years, Chris. And this plant was a combination of a manufacturing and a warehouse for aftermarket automotive parts. And I started in the warehouse, and I just kept watching people, wondering what their job entailed, knew I could do it, but I had to wait for the proper time when a job came open and the bidding process begins, and that type of thing. But after 25 years, I knew every inch of that place, and I traveled a lot of concrete over the time. And my favorite job was being the inspector that I ended up being with the company. And I ended up being on the receiving dock, inspecting those parts that were coming into the warehouse by the blueprint. So it became very, very detailed. As automotive business was definitely a male-oriented business. And so you had to prove yourself to keep up with the guys. Sorry, guys. So I went from that timid, demure girl into a lioness with brass. And I learned how to build my case and state my case. And I probably won more than I didn't win and changed some minds in the process. So then I became a source. And I was in customer service along with a customer service representative, I'll say. And if they had a complaint, then they gave it to me. I did the investigation per blueprint, per notes, per experience. We'd go back and tell my report to the customer representative, and they put it in a file. And then from that, I also went into inventory control. So I've done the whole gamut about that. I have lived in Kansas all of my life. So the roots are very deep here. And from Daryl and I, we had one son, and my son had two daughters. A second marriage brought a grandson to me. And those three have produced 6 great grandkids for me. So I have a very full life with them. And you just learn a lot. And as I had said before, we had a couple of foster kids in the beginning. And so I've learned so much through different programs and that kind of thing. Kansas is pretty much known as a farming state, a cattle state. And we raise, wheat, corn, maize, and soybeans. Some people raise sunflowers for the seeds, of course. And then the big cattle yards out in western Kansas. Yes, Dodge City is definitely a real place. Back in the cowboy days, it's well known. And I live in the southeast corner. So I'm unique in my speech because I have the Ozarks down around Branson, Missouri. And that's kind of almost a little hillbilly, but not total hillbilly. I speak cowboy because the Oklahoma trails, that type of thing. And then the mix of Kansas, and my background is Scottish and Irish. So it all comes together. Somehow it all comes together. And we all have that complexity within us that we use. And we sit right in the middle of the United States, Missouri, Oklahoma, Colorado, Nebraska. And so we're kind of known as the heart of America here. And we're definitely right in the middle of the Bible Belt as well. And I am very conservative usually. Can I get wild and crazy? Well, sure, once in a great while. Don't we all? And we also have the bigger cities that people talk about, which would be Wichita, Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. They're together. Topeka, Kansas. I have St. Louis, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Those are the big cities around us. So if we want to do some great big shopping, we travel 3 hours, or the big medicals are in those. So it's a 3-hour trip for a lot of people here. Many, many years ago, a meteorite hit around in this location, and it left deposits of lead, zinc, or coal. And so we had many mines that opened here, and that was pick and shovel, back-breaking work. And it brought us the immigrants of the Italians and the Germans and the Europeans. And so we have a great mix here. And they, they camped at the mines. Well, then, of course, that brought about some rivalries. And, of course, that brought about some fights. And bootleg whiskey was quite common here. And, of course, the unique foods from the unique people. And so that brought us a lot. Some of my other activities that I like to do is I used to be an avid walker, not quite a power walker, but I would put my feet up and down pretty quick. And I Um, Daryl and I liked camping back in the day. I like to go shopping to the flea markets, and still I like the older things. Um, I know how they work, I know why they were used, and it brought about a time of when things were made to last and not just break the moment you get it out of the box. I do enjoy singing, but because of COPD, that's kind of taken that away from me. It's gone by the wayside a little bit. I used to do yard work, but that's now gone as well. I do have my health issues, but we don't talk about that. My hardest year in my life, I figure, was 2005. And that was the year. It just kind of knocked my slats out of my bed, I guess, so to speak. And the that was the year my husband died, and he died in June. I had major surgery in July. The employment that I spent 25 years at closed its doors, and the two foster children were girls, and they got replaced with their family. I had to go back to school to learn a new trade. And so I was grieving. I was healing physically. I was healing emotionally from the loss of the foster kids, because I'd had them several years, and you know the connections. And reeling from what am I going to do financially? But good Lord, He carried me on His back, and He brought me through it, and I'm stronger for it. Don't regret any of it. And that's what's made me here today. My ONPASSIVE journey started in July of 2019, and my friend Larry Asbell from Oklahoma started talking about it. And I think maybe Larry was connected to Frank Rowe, possibly. And then I said, oh no. I said, Larry, you know, I've been up and down this journey. I'm done chasing the shiny object. One thing I learned about MLM, I am not, never will be, a marketer. And didn't have enough money to be a marketer, so to speak. And we all know why. So I won't go into that rant. But he kept talking about it. And he kept talking about Ash. And he kept talking about Marty and some of the leaders of the early days. And I said, okay. I'll get on a webinar and I'll listen to it. Well, you guys had a lot of fun. And I could see the conviction of Ash. But yet I'm a skeptic. And so I kept watching, and I kept watching and listening. And I would have pen and paper, and I would write down notes. And then pretty soon I start hearing my feelings. I start hearing some of my experiences. I start hearing Ash's conviction. So I felt like my heart was opening up. And I told Larry, well, there might be a possibility. But he was patient, and he goes, okay. And so finally he goes, what are you going to do with $97 this month? I said, oh, I don't know. Go down to the Fast Mart and buy a Coke, or go to the donut shop, buy a donut. You know, I don't know why. He goes, can't you just throw that to passive and get in it and see what it's all about? So that's kind of how that came about. So that was kind of how I got into it. And the reason that I finally made that decision was because then I heard them talking about the humanity. And then Oh Bless hit. And then we started doing the webinars, and we had different people come on that had already had some projects started, and they needed funds to continue. And they were excellent projects, and they put in a lot of time and effort on them. So I don't want to really reinvent the wheel. I just want to keep the wheel upright and rolling. And we can do that with our funds through ONPASSIVE, and we all have our open hearts. There's 1 million plus of us. Can you imagine the intensity and the impact that we are going to have when we come together as a collective, knitted together with our serving hearts? And all of us in ONPASSIVE have that serving heart, or we would not be here. All because of Mr. Ash's vision. Mr. Ash, sir, you're so appreciated for that vision and for so wanting other people to help you do what you want to do. Thank you for sharing that. That's why I'm in ONPASSIVE. Locally, I have my little projects that I do want to support. And I always start when I go to a pond. Pardon me, that was my phone. When I go to a pond, I start with small pebbles, and we all know the ripple effect, right? But I like to see how and where the ripples end. So I don't throw another pebble in until they're almost gone. And then I use this bigger rock and a bigger rock until I can see. And that helps me visualize sometimes when I was a younger person. You can't get out to too many ponds anymore. They've made them private. But I do remember that experience for me. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who was on here listening to me. Thank you for some of the comments that's been into the chat line. I couldn't pay too much attention to them. And thank you for the opportunity to shine my light, such as it is, and sharing it throughout your platform. But I would like to just let you know that ONPASSIVE courses through each and every person's veins that are involved in ONPASSIVE. So let me tell you my definition of ONPASSIVE. It took me a while to put this together, but it finally came. So going with O and going down through the spelling. O is for onward. I chose onward because forward wasn't enough. If you're not moving forward, you're always slipping backward. But sometimes we have to take a step back because things come up. Haven't we noticed that? And then we never lose sight of moving forward and onward. N is for navigating towards. The P, which is progressive technology. A is for always moving. With S, strategic thinking. With S, serving hearts. The I is for involving. The V is for visionary perspectives. For E are evolutionary results. Now, if that isn't something, I'm going to print that up a little bit bigger for me, and I'm going to put it on a wall, because I truly think that that's where ONPASSIVE is headed, and I truly think that we will be the evolutionary. All stages of life, everything has a cycle, and we are at the end of a cycle somehow, I feel, and ONPASSIVE is going to be helpful in the new beginning of a new cycle, and we're going to have such forward-thinking people with the technologies. I wish I was a little more technical, but I'm a dumb rock when it comes to that, and I will need a lot of help pulling it from every resource that I can. But no matter whether I succeed little or big, it will all be good. And I love each and every one of you for being here today. Thank you to the ones who stuck with me. And thank you for the ones who will be watching this and the recordings. I did freak out a little bit when I seen my thumbnail of me, and I said, oh my goodness, do I really want to do this? But I did. So just a quick joke. What washes up on small beaches? What washes up on small beaches? Microwaves. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Back to you, Chris and Marty.
You were wonderful, Beverly. Beverly, listen, I ran out of ink because you had so many good things to say, but two things. First of all, before I forget, can you please send me your impassive, what you just said? I want to send that personally to Ash. I think he'll love that. If you can write it up, or you said you were going to hang it on your wall, send it to me so I can get that to Ash with your name on it, because I think he'll love that. But you said a couple of things that really caught my attention. I did not have the money to be a marketer, nor a lot of people don't want to market, but I love that point. But then you said the most important thing. Everything you said was important. I started hearing my feelings.
Yes.
And when you said that, that just boom, right in the chest. And I'm thinking, man, I couldn't have said that any better myself. A lot of people are finding out their feelings. I mean, what you said was amazing. Actually, I wrote that down, but send that to me again because I want to know. But your life for 75 years, you've led an extraordinary life. I am very sorry the loss of your husband and those two kids, you went through struggles and you just kept going. I think that's amazing. You're amazing. You just probably connected to the entire world with every story you gave us. The work, the auto. I heard auto.
It was so cool. I remember when I first met Chris Johnson, it was the same thing that you said. He started hearing his emotion in Unpassive. I remember that day. I really do. And you could see him sitting there wringing his hands. I go, wow, this guy has something to say. And that was it. Worst thing I could have, the worst can of worms I could have opened, because he hasn't shut up since. But no, but he really did. And I remember that. And then we went to Papua New Guinea and all that. Yeah, you're exactly right. I remember seeing people, and people watch Unpassive, they see it. But when they really see it, that light bulb goes off. You can see it in their face. Like, okay, they got it. It hit them. It hit them here, not just here, Yeah, that was, you did fantastic. You really did.
You need to come out and speak a lot more, Beverly.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, Beverly.
Yeah, you're very professional. You come. I didn't see any nerves whatsoever. I know you tell us about that. You usually speak in front of your church, in front of people. She considered us air. That's okay, but it was funny. I love the joke at the end. That was pretty funny. I love jokes, but I think all around you're a beautiful, pure individual with a heart as big as gold, and you are going to take. Listen, you're going to take Unpassive places. Let me put it that way to you. Right. You're going to be woo. You're going to go.
Beverly, there's a lot of webinars and different things we're doing. You should be there. People will. I'm telling you, you have a way of speaking. You speak from the heart, and you'll really inspire a lot of people. I believe that. I really do.
Well, everything is in God's timing. I've always thought that. And I was in another MLM, so to speak, and I was on weekly calls presenting product. And I started, for some reason, one day, I said, I just want to tell a kid's story. And I became known as a storyteller within that group. And so I guess that is true. I've had other people make that statement about how I speak. I don't know what about how I speak is different, but okay, I'll take it. And if you want me on some webinars, I'm be glad to go there. I don't really want to be a host, but I would be a co-host, but I don't know anything about this stuff. So that's a deterrent to me.
We'll get you links to different things. Tonight we got Oron and
Let's go.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun. We're going to run that on all the YouTube.
We have something at 2:00 today, don't we? We got invited last night, and I said I'd be traveling. Oh Lord, what is it?
That was yesterday, wasn't it?
No, I thought they said it was going to be on today, and I said I'll be traveling to back home today. I don't know if I'll be.
Oh, that's right. What was it?
It was. We're forgetful. See, we're some dumb rocks over here, Beverly. You're not even close.
No, but we go on so many things. I can't remember what it was.
It'll probably pop my mind once we end this. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But
anyway, you did fantastic. You really did, Beverly. Thank you so much for coming out and saying something. All the chats are going crazy about you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have trivia at night. We have every night, men against the women, and then we have there's something on Sunday, every Sunday at 2. There's something every Friday night.
Yeah.
Julie has something, I don't know how many times a week. So there's always something that you can be involved in if you want.
Okay.
But I think you should come in.
It was Marcianne. Minnow just texted me. And the OTech Pros, Marcianne was telling us in French, something with the French.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought that was Tuesday and Thursday. So today's Friday.
Yeah, I know. My days are kind of mixed up. So, but Beverly, you are a rock star. I love your faith. I love that you took us through the states. I love that you explained about the
Guess
states.
what, Beverly? I was born in Kansas.
Were you? Okay, awesome.
In Fort Riley.
Fort Riley? Uh-huh.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
My dad
that's
was in
north
the
and west to
military.
me. I'm tucked right in the very corner of Kansas because I'm like 12 miles from the Oklahoma line, which is
Oh,
south
you're
of
way
me.
over there. Yeah.
And then I'm 12 miles from the Missouri line to the east of me. So I'm tucked right in the corner. So we have to travel a distance to go anywhere in the state. But
Absolutely.
There's no
yeah,
place like home.
There's no place like home. There's no.
that's right. The red ruby slippers, you bet.
Well, Beverly, we're not in Kansas anymore. Be
No.
ready for the Golden City.
Very good. Very good. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody. Thank you, Beverly.
Bye, everyone.
That was
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thanks, Bev.
Bye.
Send me that stuff, Beverly. Send me that stuff.
I'll try to remember you. Yes. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.